Welcome to the Bruno English Method, a place to start and to learn a lot more. So today we're going to discuss the reading part of the Oxford Test of English Advanced C1. And I'm going to focus on this part that is called Taste and Aesthetics based on Test 1 that is published online. And I'm going to give you some tips for you to understand better how to choose between the different questions that they're asking and the different options for each gap of the text. There are 6 gaps that we need to complete. And so, how are we going to read this text? First, we're going to look at the linking words that might tell me the answer. And not only linking words, but we're also going to look for synonyms in the set of possible answers. Sometimes we have, for example, it says however, it says nevertheless, it says additionally, or it says on the contrary. So it depends on, these are linking words that might help us. But also because this is C1, we need to find synonyms, and not only synonyms, but different points of view, different ways of telling the same idea. So it's sometimes that's why it's a little tricky. And the third one is, well, do your best to leave the extra sentence behind, not before analyzing it thoroughly. Okay, so we're going to see the first one. And so it says, well, the term aesthetics came into prominence in the 18th century as an artistic experience with German philosopher Alexander Baumgarten. And we'll see that this text is talking about philosophers. So we think that the register is high. We think it's like an academic text, but not quite so. So that's why we need to be careful. And then they're talking about David Hume, and he talked about taste, the word taste. So this is the first clue that we're going to talk about. It's a refined ability to perceive quality in an artwork. So it says taste might seem completely subjective, and this is what we have to make sure we comprehend the sentence before the gap and the sentence that comes after that. So taste might seem completely subjective. Gap, and then it says, isn't art just like this? Like taste? Subjective? Perhaps you prefer Dickens or Fassbinder, while I prefer Stephen King and Austin Powers. So in here they're talking about Austin Powers, so we can see that it's not as high as we thought, the register. So well, in this first example, I already highlighted the answer. And so this is what we're gonna talk about. Of course, while we're taking the test, we need to read all the answers and try to imagine in our minds. But I recommend just working one by one, paragraph by paragraph, like this, and especially seeing the sentence that comes before and the sentence that comes after the gap. So in this case, we have subjective, we have taste, and we have what you prefer, this one or the other one. So in this case, it says some people have favorite colors and desserts, just as they favor certain kinds of automobiles or furniture. So definitely what we're going to choose is number D. And in the explanation, it says that it describes taste as possibly seeming subjective. And so option D gives some examples of what subjective is. So in this gap, we're going to expect an example. And usually that's another clue for getting this part of the test right, to expect an example. And even when the rest of the text is very formal and like very academic, the example is not that much. So because it says some people have favorite colors and desserts. I mean, we're talking about philosophers, and then we have kind of a lower register to tell an example, right? But yes, this is the correct answer, and says the paragraph goes on to give further examples of preferring one thing over another. So, okay, let's go to the second one. The two took different approaches. We're talking about philosophers here. Hume emphasized education and experience. People of taste acquire certain abilities that lead to agreement about which artworks are the best. Such people, he felt, will eventually reach a consensus, and doing in so set a standard of taste, which is universal. So now they're talking about like a standard of taste, and that something is going to be universally liked, right? And then here comes the gap, and then it says, he said people of taste must persevere, no, yeah, must preserve, sorry, minds free from prejudice, but thought no one should enjoy immoral or vicious attitudes or vicious manners in art. Okay, so we're talking about here, okay.